Previously on Project Element, we picked up a car for $1,000 with a stolen catalytic converter. We took it to a muffler shop and got a cat welded up. We got it registered and drivable, and we drained and filled the transmission 3 times. To continue on with our cost cutting, we got ourselves an aftermarket air filter, the absolute cheapest one we could find. On today's episode of Project Element, we are going to show you how to change your PCV valve and hopefully finish all of the engine maintenance so we can move on to other portions of the car. It starts now. Guys, I want to cover a quick engine tip. This here is a PCV valve, and this is super easy. It's a proper crankcase ventilation, 03 element that we're working on, and we're going through the rest of the engine maintenance. Super easy. 17 mil wrench or a deep drive socket. Make sure you have your tools. You're going to need the needle nose pliers to take the rubber hose off that you see right there. Get the little clamp off. You might need an extension depending on what type of socket you have. I'm going to use my deep drive with that as an extension, and it should work. And if you look right down here, we actually have this tube. It's kind of a soft tube, but right back there you can see there's one of those little hose clamps that you just pinch and it'll loosen up. And then there is, right at the end of my finger, that PCV valve. Super easy, right above your alternator, right in front of the intake. Easy to get to, and it'll smooth out some of the idle and make everything just run a little bit better. Cheap too. Get yourself one. Okay, first thing you want to do, right here, follow this hose down, locate what you're looking for. It's back there. There's going to be a little tiny, I might have to get a smaller pair of needle nose. Watch out for that, because these things like to spring, and I just got super lucky because that hit me in the elbow and landed right here. That could have gone a country mile, so just be careful with those when you pull off that hose. All right, this actually looks like this PCV valve is pretty darn clean. You can see it right there. We'll pull it out and show you what it looks like. All right, we're just gonna get our deep drive right over that, 17 mil. Break that loose. The rest should basically be done by hand. So, mine is a little warm because I just drove to pick this part up. You might want to wait for your engine to cool down a bit so that you're not burning yourself on the intake manifold right here or any of the other parts. You know, it's the small things. Super easy change right here, guys. That's it. It's as easy as changing a spark plug. And we can show you it's pretty gummed up. The telltale way is to blow on them, or if you can hear that, there's a little diaphragm in there that can rock back and forth, and you'll hear it hit the sides. And when it gets gummed up with carbon deposits and muck and unburnt oil and whatever else is coming through from your exhaust gas recirculation system, well, then it stops that thing from actuating inside of there. It's basically a vacuum block. So, change those out. I think it was $12. Now just repeat everything backwards. You get a socket, you slip it over there with your deep drive, you tighten it down, you get this little metal doohickey, and you use your needle nose and you grip the doohickey and you put the hose thing back in there. You basically just do everything in reverse. It's pretty darn simple. Really easy job, keeps your engine running clean. Straightens out your idle if you have kind of a wobbly or a rough idle. All right, guys, this is how I like to work on my car when I'm doing oil and stuff. I actually put it on 4 ramps. Allows you to crawl underneath really well. Inspect. Now, this is the first time I've crawled under this car, so we're gonna go ahead and take a look. Obviously, you got your standard sludge because that's right where the oil filter is, and everyone takes them off without the Honda tool. But man, it is clean down here. There's our brand new catalytic converter all welded up. End links are in good shape. Bushings are okay. That motor mount back there is a little suspect, but for the most part. She's in good shape, and now there's plenty of room to work underneath her. So all right, there you go. So let's move on to the interior. As you can see, it's a Honda Element. All of them have their little seats that are busted and broken up, but you know, for what we got this car for, it's in really good shape. You know, like I said, it just needs a bath. There's some grot here and there. 145,000 miles. She is looking like she's in pretty good shape. I mean, you know, things like the little headresting. It did have seat covers on it. I took that off immediately just to see what the seat was like before I purchased it. I mean, this thing is dirty. It was lived in. It was a college student, says he went to Cal Poly, and he's done. He graduated, bought himself a new Mazda. So, as you can see, here is the iron remover from Meguiar's. All right, so we are basically wrapping up day 2 here. Not because we want to, but because the weather's turning for the worse. So we're gonna have to hopefully get this thing washed before the rain comes. We did an iron oxide treatment. I'll show you some pictures or footage of how bad the rust was on the roof. And I just want to be sure that we don't leave that on the paint for any extended period of time. So definitely got to give it a bath. But engine maintenance is done. We've done the engine, we did the transmission fluid 3 times. New filters, new air filter, new cabin air filter, just a general once over. We have not done any of the other fluids, but we have radiator fluid, power steering fluid, brake fluid. I mean, we can do quite a bit. So as for right now, maintenance is done. She's up and running. She's nice and quiet. She's a good little car. So we're gonna move on to doing some exterior work. All right, quick tip. When you're getting rid of your oil for recycling and you're gonna go ahead and pour it into a container, it's a good idea to mark it first with water. So there's a 4, 3, let's see if you can see it, 2, 1. Anyways, mark yourself a quart, pour it in there, mark it with a Sharpie, pour the next one, mark it with a Sharpie, you get the idea. That way, say your transmission only gives you 3.5 quarts and you have one of the big gallon jugs, it's a great way to know exactly how much fluid to put in there, and you're already gonna have to put it in a container for recycling anyways. Do yourself a favor, draw on it first. Thanks for watching Project Element with us today. 2 minutes after I stopped filming, it started raining on me, and I didn't even have time to put my tools away. But as you can see, it's some much needed rain. And just like that, we'll see you next week.